Okay, welcome everybody. It's 2 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, the 5th of May, unless you're watching this on recording, in which case it could be next Sunday or Monday or Tuesday or whenever, and I don't really care. Quick question to start with. No, sorry, a quick competition. We are very privileged today to have four guests, and I want you to tell me which one is which. One is a young dog, one is an old dog, one is royalty, and one's a prophet. Answers on a postcard. I'll give you a clue. Thunder, come here. Come here. That's the young dog. Now, be very careful which answers you make the rest, because the three that you can see on the screen are extremely vicious and nasty people. The one I've just shown you is a big softie. Right.
Actually, this is the young dog. He's only 10 weeks.
That's true. He's even younger than the one that I've got. Now, it's taken us 2 weeks to get her, but we have royalty in the house, so much so that I'm actually going to put on a tie. There you go. That doesn't get warm very often. Obi's going to talk to us about her trip to Dallas, some of the funny bits that went on, and tell us what to expect with DSD. I must point out that this is not a training exercise, okay? So we couldn't do it even if we wanted to in the space of half an hour. So this is not a training exercise. This is purely like all the rest of our hangouts, bit of fun, talking about Dallas and the DSD event, and you know, hopefully all of us at some point in the future will get there, but we shall see. Over to you, Obi.
Well, hi everybody, and thank you very much for having me on. It's a great honour to be able to talk to Team Thunder today. Well, what can I say? I went to Dallas. Stuff happened. There you go. It was brilliant. I have to say, it was really, really good, and it was well worth the horrendous KLM flight. Never ever fly KLM. It was like being hit by a big blue garbage truck with KLM on the side. It was just I'm gonna have therapy for years. I really am. Well, Dallas was obviously a massive relaunch, really, of the company, which was nice, which is lovely. They really made an effort to make everybody comfortable and make sure everybody knew what was going on, which is great. We actually got to see, like last time we only got to see Hitesh in flashes. No, he was like front of house this time. It was weird. He's got a beard and everything now. Weird. I mean, they're both lovely guys. Him and Kevin were on the stage, and they were just taking Q&As, and you could just wander up and talk to them. They were great. The hotel itself was awesome. If you can, Google the Dallas Hilton Anatoly. That's where we were, and it's kind of like part museum, part hotel. I mean, they had a massive chunk of the Berlin Wall downstairs. It was quite an experience, really. They had like an Oriental theme going on, so there was like 16th century figurines in these cases and stuff like that. It was really interesting. Well looked after. The food was great, as you can imagine. Going to Texas, the steak was amazing. I was sat at dinner with I had Jesse Singh on one side of me, Trent Wildman on the other, and I'm just sitting there stuffing beef in my face, like nom 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 nom. Oh, it was so much fun. It was great. The event itself was, how like we as Brits were a bit kind of like, oh, these things are going to be hypey and cringy and blah. There was nothing of that. We had like 20 minutes of introducing the US leaders, which obviously everybody knew anyway, and then we cracked straight on with some really, really good content. It was just essentially 2 days of being personally trained by Sean Agnew and Kenya and Kevin and Hitesh himself. It was brilliant. They really have worked hard on what you see in your back office now and what's coming. They have worked, I'm not kidding you, these guys have worked their socks off, and any other parts of their anatomy they care to mention. They have worked so hard on what they've done and what's coming and getting things into place. it was really good, and just to sit and talk with these people was really brilliant. You know, sort of, I was asked to dinner with them all, and that was really nice because these guys, they're real people. You know, we see them on the leaderboards and we see them in the videos and stuff, but these guys, I mean, I was sat with them all for dinner, and what struck me was that they were all learning from each other. I mean, we were sat at dinner, and I've got Aaron Andrews talking to Freddie about email campaigns, and on the other side, I've got, you know, like Sean and Trent talking about SEO rankings and giving each other tips and hints. And that really struck me because I think that's the mark of a true leader, is somebody who doesn't say, I'm awesome, I'm at the top of my game, I know everything. These guys, you know, the net worth at that table was probably more than the entire restaurant put together, and yet they were sitting there giving each other a bit of a hand. There was none, oh yeah, I'll talk to you later about that. It was, oh no, here we go, right, we're sat here now, let's crack on. And you know, I got a full email course from Aaron Andrews, which was awesome. You know, as well as stuffing my face with awesome beef. You know, a bit of sauce coming out the side of my mouth, you know, looking really special. But these people are really fabulous people, down to earth, and they're just, you know, if you've got something that you can teach them, they will listen. And that's why they're worth what they are, because there's no ego, there was no I in that room at all. There was just us. And that's the direction that they're trying to take DS now. They're trying to take it in a kind of like, well, it's not one person up here and then everybody else listening. You know, there's people out there who are very, very good at something very specific. And that's who they want to hear from. They want to hear from anybody who's got an idea or something specific, you know, to help everybody in DS. So that's why we've now got, for instance, Sean Agnew do Monopoly. Because Sean Agnew is amazing at Monopoly. Why wouldn't you want to be trained by Sean Agnew? So now everybody is trained by Sean Agnew. You know, we've got Kenya doing some of the social media stuff because she's fabulous at using Facebook. I mean, she's fabulous anyway. I felt right scruffy sat next to her. You know, she just looks fabulous all the time. It's not fair. You know, and we've got so many people. I mean, Carly Han is just amazing at ranking. I mean, she could take you could write your laundry list, and she would rank it on YouTube. It would be like the most visited web page ever. You know, she's that good. So why not have her doing the training? Because that's what she's good at. You know, so it was really an eye-opener, I have to say, eye-opener. And it was almost worth dying on a KLM flight for, because I nearly died. Let's not be about the bush. I nearly died. I nearly did not survive that trip. So yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, you know, Steve, if there's anything specific you want to know, you know, because I'm just going to sit here and burble otherwise.
Well, no change there then.
Oh, it's so funny.
The actual event when you were there, how was it? How did the days sort of pan out from sort of morning to afternoon? Was it just all in one hall, or did you go to separate rooms for separate information about certain packages, or what?
Well, how they worked it was we kept everybody together, that we didn't move around the hotel, because let's face it, there was like 2,000 of us. They were bound to lose somebody. And you know, there's so many shinies. We would have all been like, oh, shiny, and off we went. So how it worked was we got there on the Friday. I flew in actually 2 hours before I only got to the hotel 2 hours before the thing started because I was held up in customs. Apparently this is the face of terrorism. So it might have had something to do with the fact that I very nearly ran over a sniffer beagle. So I think I was unfairly profiled as a beagle killer. So anyway, I finally got to the hotel. A guy that I met in Vegas, Matthew from New Jersey, he was renting a car. So bless him, he stayed around for an hour waiting for me to come out. So we finally got to the hotel. The thing started at 6. I checked in, got to meet loads of people that I'd seen in Vegas, and people recognised my voice from the videos. What they didn't recognise was my face. So you could see all these people like going, what was that? Because they didn't know who to look for. And you know, I got, well, I thought you'd be taller. I got that a lot. So we got there, and then the first session was 6. It started at 6. It was meant to go till 9, and then VIP was 9 till 11. But how it actually worked was we just worked all the way through till about midnight, and they weren't that bothered about people who hadn't got VIP tickets, you know, not hanging around kind of thing. So we just worked all the way through. We first started off with like introduction of the leaders and stuff. In fact, let me get my notebook out because I wrote it. It was all in sort of chronological order. There we go. Right, so we met the new leaders. Then straight away they dived into Pro and the new back office and what was going to be in there and what we could expect and all the rest of it, which obviously got a lot of attention. And then we went into Kenya and Jessie. They dissected a Pro training. They dissected a listing and walked us all through it. Then we got Dion and Nathan out. They were going through Elite, and of course, naturally, Nathan had to get his drone out, didn't we? So we all got buzzed by a drone. So you might have seen that on Facebook. That was great fun. I've made a note here that the guy opposite me was falling asleep. He did that a lot. But to be fair, you know, we're talking about 10 o'clock at night by this point. We sort of went through some of the things that you've probably seen in your back office about things like, you know, commissions and stuff. Trent did a brilliant training on YouTube, and that's where we left the first day. So already, between 6 and 12, we had massive amounts of content. Then day 2, we were talking about the new pricing, you know, the new packaging. Nikki Witherspoon, if you ever get a chance to meet this woman and her husband, do so. She is the most hilarious woman you've ever met in your life. She cracks me up every time. She was talking about FBA, because obviously she does a course in the US for FBA, so she was talking about that. A lady called Mary did coupons, which obviously I kind of switched off a bit for that because we don't really do that in the UK. But it's handy for anybody who has, you know, does work in the US. Sean came out and did a Monopoly training, which was amazing. We had some burning questions. So again, it's all content. You know, we got the lawyer, the company's lawyer came out and did a few words, you know, had a few words to say about the company and the fact that he would only recommend probably our company over any of the other MLMs and stuff that he does work with, because he's an MLM lawyer. That's what he does. And there's not that many that he would recommend. But he's actually, as I left, actually, somebody was trying to get him signed up, which was hilarious to watch. We talked about options a bit, you know, obviously options domination. Then we had a bit of recognition. And again, this is broken up during the day. We're all in the same room. This is broken up, so we stopped for lunch for a bit, and then, you know, a bit of networking, and then came back to it. We talked about vendor surge. Obviously, the vendor, sort of, you know, our own internal suppliers, if you like. Josh Jacobs did a great training on Craigslist and emails. Kenya did Facebook, which was brilliant. And that's kind of where we left it on the second day. And then this was brilliant. On the Sunday, Nikki Witherspoon loaded 200 people into buses and actually took them out scanning, actually took them out doing FBA round a couple of stores that they'd pre-approved, if you like, and they all had a blast. And in the meantime, Kevin and Hitesh was just stood on the stage answering any question you felt like firing at them. Of course, naturally, my questions were all UK based. The minute I stood up, you could just see Hitesh's face go, "Oh my God, no, please not her." So, you know, and I was just like, Hitesh, and he was like, "Yes, Obi, it will work in the UK. The answer is yes. Please go away." So, and then sort of at lunchtime, everything sort of, we all sort of drifted away, and there was no big close. We just all kind of drifted, and then I spent Sunday afternoon and Monday morning, you know, sorting out the UK side, having meetings with people and gathering souvenirs, because my children had said to me, in no uncertain circumstances, Mother, you bring back some decent presents, because apparently my Vegas presents were rubbish. So I had to bring better presents. And then Monday afternoon I was back on a plane, and then I nearly died. So I hope you all appreciate what I'm bringing back to the UK, because I nearly died. I can't stress that enough. Nearly died.
Well, come on, you can't leave it like that. What happened?
What didn't happen? I got on the plane. It's KLM. I will never fly KLM again. The food was just horrible. So, you know, I fly with Virgin a lot, and maybe I'm a bit snobby about the whole thing, but, you know, it's nice to have like a little menu and you know, and be told what you're eating for a start. There was none of that. This ancient harridan came down with a little trolley. Pastoral beef. Whichever one's not going to kill me. It was just horrible. Whatever you picked, it didn't matter because they both tasted the same, apparently. Unfortunately, there was no air conditioning to start with, and they didn't bring round drinks or anything for a couple of hours. So by the time we were all like little prunes, I was so dehydrated. The entertainment on the plane wasn't that great. I think that the most up-to-date film was the live-action Cinderella, and which is fine. I had my little flash drive and I was cracking on with a bit of training, but you would like something on, if you're going all those miles. And we got a bit of turbulence during the night, which was interesting, especially when you've got the stewardess literally barking down the phone, get to your seat, don't even go to the toilet. I mean, that was frightening. I'm surprised they didn't give them tasers. That's that's the next thing for KLM. The stewardesses will have tasers, just in case their horrendous demeanour does not cow you enough. Got into Amsterdam feeling sick as a dog. Amsterdam, if anybody's been through there, is huge, so I had to hot-foot it from one side or the other, which they're doing massive amounts of work to as well, which didn't help. Got to the plane, had to go through several new sets of security, not even time for a cup of coffee, and everybody knows my coffee thing, so that was a bit of an issue for me. And then I touched down, from Amsterdam into Humberside, and it's grey, and it's wet, and it's horrible, and I just felt so depressed. It was like, But, and then Pete left me in the airport for an hour.
At home?
Yeah, never mind at home. Wasn't my fault. My phone died, so I couldn't text him. But you'd think that any normal man would think, my girlfriend's flight landed an hour ago. Maybe I better go over there and see what's going on. Apparently not. So there I was, in Humberside Airport, depressed, sick as a dog, wearing clothes more suitable for the Texas sunshine than Humberside, and then, very grumpy. So, yeah.
So what do you think of DSD2 then? What your first impressions before you went out there, and then what you've heard since, and what you've seen since? What's your view?
Well, when I first heard about the changes, I was like, yeah, about time. Awesome. Just make automation work. That's all we need it to do, is just make it work. But I tell you what, Hitesh went above and beyond, because now it doesn't just work, it's a full package. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today who has no interest in DSD. I told her about the automation, about how it's all going to be done for us, and she was like, ooh, I could be interested in that. I was like, yeah, you lazy cow. So that's the only reason, it's because it's done for you now. But yeah, I went out there with the impression that all it was going to do was basically, it was going to work. We'd have the same thing, but it would work. No way. It's all. Everybody by now should have seen their back office. If you haven't, then go run now. You need to see the back office. It's lovely. It's very colourful. Everything's in a much better structure. There's more videos for a start. So please don't think, oh well, I've seen Pro, I don't need to watch it again. Yes, you do. I've spent my morning going back through Pro again, and I've got all the packages. So that was my impression. Then during the event, and all this stuff was coming out, and I'm like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my god. And then now I've come home and seen it in action. I can't wait to the 15th when it all goes live, because it's going to be really hands-off business. Your job is now not going to be customer service and product management. It's going to be finding your job is now going to be finding the items, and that's it. Because everything else will be handled for you. But it's not like you have to use it. You've got the option. You don't have to make everything automated if you don't want to. You can manually do it as we always have done, and in some cases that's advantageous, because you might have somewhere that's got better cashback than better cashback on it than the 2% you'll get from the Amazon gift card. So in which case, fill your boots, do it manually, and fulfill it through your cashback sites. So you've got that flexibility, which is really nice.
Just before you go on, Annalise from our group, who comes from Holland, would like to stress that everything in Holland is good except KLM.
Fabulous. Well, it was absolutely no disrespect to Holland, because I went through Amsterdam and it looked lovely, and I've been to Amsterdam many times when I was a skater. Going through there for my skating competitions. Love the place. I think the food is awesome. But KLM, yeah, you need to not do that anymore. It's like a big blue garbage truck with KLM written on the side. And that's how you feel when you've got off the plane. It's like you've been run over by one of them. Horrendous. But yeah,
you're not going to
everyone's
do
rules.
promoting for them then.
Sorry, darling?
You're not going to do any promoting for them then.
No, I don't believe I will, on account of them nearly killing me. Have I mentioned that?
I have to say, going back to DSD2, I mean, I've looked at the back office and suitably impressed. I've delayed doing the training because I go away on holiday. I'm not sure if I've told anybody this yet, but I'm actually away on holiday in Portugal. So I thought it best, because my brain would not be able to cope with the training and thinking of Portugal at the same time. So I need to get one of them out of the way. So Portugal, I'm afraid, is a priority for me at the moment. But when I get back, I shall go through all the training, all pro, all elite, all monopoly, all over again. And I suspect, from what you're telling me and what I've heard elsewhere, that there is some new skills to be learned.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been doing DSD now since November 2013. I would consider myself an old hand at this, but I'm going through the training and going, well, wow, I know just little things, and they've incorporated everything that we've all been doing and that we've all found out. Things like renaming your photos, the 3 keywords. Now in the automation suite, because I've seen the back office of the automation suite, that will be done for you. They will be automatically cropped and automatically pulled through, and then it'll pull it through from Amazon. It will then crop it, resize it, do the magic that it does now, and then you say, right, what do you want to call this photo? And then in the box underneath, you put your 3 keywords. Done for you. At the moment, obviously, we've got the legacy tools until it goes live, but things like that, which we already kind of knew, and some people were using, some people weren't, they're now included in the training, which is great. But it was just little things like, I've just been watching Jessie's training on how to set out your listing, and it gave me some really good ideas. So just little things like that. Never, ever, ever assume that you know everything. Always be learning. And with the new training, it's great because all the things that were kind of implied knowledge, or maybe some people knew and some people didn't, now everybody's got access to, which is great. You've muted yourself, Steve.
Oh yes, I have. So sorry, one button, 2 functions. That's it. I'm gone. Mark, have you got any questions, or has your dog got it?
Yeah, Obi, can you tell us about this fight you had with Hitesh, or how you bribed him or threatened him to get what were you getting in the UK?
Little column A, little column B.
Something to do with throwing tea bags at him or something, was it?
I only threw a little bit of tea bags at him. To be fair, it wasn't like a whole truckload. It was, I brought a box of tea bags for Rachel, his wife, because Rachel and his wife, and I are friends, and I like to make sure she's fully, loaded with tea, because that woman has got enough on her plate, and we're Brits, end of the day, put the kettle on, have a cup of tea, and then deal with whatever crisis, because that's how we conquered the world, tea. So I brought her a thing of tea, and I asked him a question on stage. And he was like, oh, no, you only get 1 question. I was like, I got tea bags for you. I've got tea bags for your wife. Now, somebody's wife ain't going to get a tea bag unless I get this question answered. Thank you very much. And then, after that, he was putty in my hands. No, seriously, he's a great guy. There was no threatening needed, really, because he already wanted to personally apologise for what we've had to put up with and the fact that we've had to do these workarounds. But he's hoping that some of the stuff that's coming out for us is going to kind of make up for that. And I've got a good idea what's coming. Hopefully I'm going to be involved in the Genesis side of things, so you're going to unfortunately be seeing a lot more of me. Ha! Sucks to be you lot. But there's other people who have really pulled some things out the bag to put some more content in. So when he says that this stuff is launching in July, it's only because he wants to make sure it's right. We've got a list of suppliers that we can use. So if you have got suppliers, certainly elite level and above, that you have used and that are good, we want to hear about it so they can get put in, so everybody can use them, and that we can integrate with, so the automation system will work with them. So we all need, we need your help. Everybody needs to start pulling together, and we need your help to find these suppliers that are going to be good for us. So big, shout for help there. But yeah, Hitesh is great. He's so funny, and you sit next to him for like 10 seconds, and straight away you feel your IQ just dropping because you just feel so dumb next to him. You know, by the time I left that room, I was like drooling out one side of my mouth, you know, like a proper window licker. You know? But yeah, there was not much threatening needed. But yeah, the teabag thing is true. You know, I did throw a box of tea bags at him. But to be fair, I threw one at Kenya as well.
So that's your invite for next year, not cancelled then?
Oh yeah, they're going to tell everybody else. Oh yeah, the event's here, but don't tell Obi. We're going to tell her it's over there somewhere.
Well, I'm very conscious that obviously you've got a school run to do soon.
I do, yes, yeah. I still have to pick up my children because you know, if you don't pick them up from school, they eBay them. I don't want the returns. I don't want the defect on my account.
Obi, it's been an absolute privilege having you on the Hangout, and I mean that because I've got a lot of time and respect for you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm a liar as well. But hey,
yeah, I was going to say you're an excellent liar. Also.
I second that. I second that. It has been a privilege, Obi. I've got a huge amount of respect for you as well.
Well, like I said, I didn't want to pour too much of the content into people's brains because it's all in your back office, but hopefully I've given you a flavour of what you can expect. And seriously, guys, start putting money away for the next event because just being there is an absolute, you know, experience, and just being around like-minded people, really, it just does something to your motivation, you know. And there were just people wandering around all over the hotel, and you didn't know who was making £1 million. I mean, I was talking to Matt McCormick, and this guy's like smaller than me. He's wearing board shorts. He looks about 10, and this guy could have bought the bar we were sitting in. You know, he's doing so well. So you never know who you're going to meet and who you're going to speak to. So get to the next event if you can, because there's just, you know, it's brilliant. It's not just a bit of a jolly. It's great, and you might get to throw tea bags at Hitesh.
That's brilliant, Obi. Just on a note of what you've just said there, I've actually spoken to Kenya yesterday. And an idea that I put to her is that the next event they have live streaming to members around the world.
We had that at Vegas, but I think this time it was just a different setup.
Yeah. What I've suggested is that obviously, yes, you're absolutely right to get to the event, that's great. But many people who have just started or have got other commitments obviously would not be able to go. Probably would be prepared to pay a nominal fee for a live streaming, actually get hold of some live streaming the event. And that's going to be put back to the powers that be, I assume Kev and Hitesh, to see if that is feasible. But I think you're right, if you can afford it, go. But only if you can afford it. It's a bit like if you want to go from pro to elite, by all means do so, but only do afford it, otherwise you're going to be up the creek without paddle. Yeah,
but you do get so much more. It's like, I think Neil Spare calls it the meeting after the meeting. It's the little bits in between the sessions that really can boost your business because, you know, I mean, I was sat outside in the garden just randomly with a random guy. Turns out this guy's doing $250,000 on Amazon, and he gave me some brilliant advice. Yeah. So it's things like that. It's the meetings between the meetings that are very important as well. So if you want to build a very large business and you've got the money, or you know that you're willing to put £100 away, because I mean that's all this trip cost me was about £1,200. You start putting £100 away every month and you've got it. So you know, no matter where it is, because let's face it, it's much of a muchness wherever in the States to us. So you know, it was about the same to Dallas as it was to Vegas, as it was for me to fly to Orlando at Christmas. So it's all pretty much of a muchness. So start putting it away now and you've got it. But yeah, live streaming for those that can't make it would be brilliant. Okay, and obviously pay a bit extra and avoid KLM. Absolutely, don't ever fly KLM because they will kill you. They will straight out try and kill you. I've got a bite on the back of my leg and I don't know if it was a Texas mosquito or fleas from the plane. The jury is out, but whatever it is, it's blown up my leg. The one that wasn't wonky from the ankle, so I'm now completely off my feet, which is fabulous. All right, that's brilliant, Obi. Thank you very much. Thanks to Mark, and thanks to everybody that's been watching. This link will be available for the rest of the week
going into next week, so you can watch it again, should you want to. We'll see you again next week. Next week we have Nikki Preston, who's relatively new to DSD, but is actually taking her business by storm. Is doing amazingly well. She's going to talk about what it's like to be a newbie, her success, and no doubt we'll take the mickey out of her as well. From me, wish you a good weekend, and just to let you know that it's only 13 days to my holiday. Mark, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, just a huge amount of thanks to Obi for appearing today and for being the spokeswoman of the UK in Dallas. Absolutely fantastic.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. We'll see you next week.